everyone. This is Akriti of third year of EC department. Now I am here to explain the project that is called Car Black Box, which I have done an internship which was conducted by the emertxe. This is my project Car Black Box presented by Akriti Kumari and table of content, introduction to black box, features of black box, requirements, embedded system, microcontroller versus microprocessor, and briefly Pixim Lab car black box project. And black box, basically a black box is either physically installed in the car or downloaded as a smartphone app, and it links to a GPS device that measures and records vehicle speed, location, distance traveled, driving frequency, and time of day the car is motion. Features of black box: exposure to a 1110 degree centigrade for an hour and degree centigrade for 10 hours. It can operate between -55 to +70 degrees centigrade and and it can carry a maximum 25 hours of flight data. It is submerged under the equivalent of 6,000 meters of sea water for 1 month. Requirements of embedded knowledge in embedded C, MPLab ID, X8 compiler, Pixim Lab. Some important thing of Pixim Lab: default screen, login screen, main menu, and view log, set time, event, and event capture. Embedded system: any combination of hardware and software which is performed to do a specific task can be called as an embedded system. And the digital camera, digital wristwatch, etc. Types of embedded system: stand-alone and real-time system. Networked. Types of embedded systems are two types based on performance and functional requirements, and second types based on the performance or the microcontroller. Based on the performance and functional requirements, embedded system are four types: real-time, standalone, networked, and mobile, and four types based on the performance of the microcontroller: a small scale and medium scale, sophisticated. How to choose embedded system: low power consumption, cost efficiency, efficient use of processing power, reliability, efficient use of memory. Nowadays, basically we mostly use microcontroller in embedded systems, washing machines, and uh, many types of things are used of embedded system. Microcontroller versus microprocessor, all separate components, more flexible, more design complexity. That is all features of microcontroller. And microprocessor, all components in single chip, less flexible and less design complexity. Pixim Lab. Pixim Lab is a programmable IC simulator laboratory. Pixim Lab is a real-time emulator of development board with integrated MPLab X. MPLab supports some Pixim microcontroller and some Simware microcontroller. A car black box is different from an aircraft black box here, although they share name a vehicle. Black box is not the same as an aircraft, and black box commercially aircraft, the black box is actually comprised of two separate devices: the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder, which often combine to form a single unit. Altitude, airspeed, pilot input, pitch. The black box records an abundance of data. EDR have been voluntarily installed by many vehicle manufacturers since 2002. However, the specifies of the data recorded vary depending on the manufacturer. Lateral and longitudinal delta V speed change. Vehicle indicated speed and engine throttle percentage, brake stage on off, ignition cycles, crash ignition cycle downloaded. And third type, a car black box is not always black, depends upon black boxes depends upon, especially true in aviation, where the exterior of the black box is required to be coated with a heat and corrosion resistant orange paint for high visibility enough decades to aid search team during their investigation. Not all black box can be downloaded. The Part 563 rule further mandate that vehicle manufacturers must ensure by a licensing agreement or by the other means that a tool is capable of accessing, retrieving the data stored in the EDR. When airbags are replaced, the black boxes also when airbags are depleted, they are not repaired or repaid. They are replaced typically. When this is done, the ACM is also replaced during the collision with airbag deployment. The ACM will store all the valuable crash related data and will lock the data so it cannot be crashed or overwritten. Accordingly, a new ACM is required when replacing airbags, and we go to fixing lab. So first system is asked the password. Before we go all, this is my this is my display, and uh, the frequency selection come box directly change the working speed of the this board controls, and the frequency selection come box directly change the working speed of the microcontroller, and the means and function are list 5, and we load as we load hex file, and save hex and save memory in hex file, a dot hex file, and uh, board Arduino, and choose board Arduino, and depends upon breadboard choose, and microcontroller select the microcontroller to be depends on select board, and modules oscilloscope when the oscilloscope window, spare parts open the spare parts window, tools serial terminal open the serial remote tank, open the remote tank simulator. Mm, the first part of the status bar show the state of the simulation. In the middle part of the status of the debug support, and in the last part the name of the serial port used, its default speed, and the error in relation to real speed configured microcontroller. And so for the system is asked the password to be entered. First case 1, if we entered wrong password, the LED will display the password is 123, the password wrong. If we entered the correct password, the system will authenticate it, and it will display the system, and it will display the engine is off. Once we switch on the engine, all the parameters like speed, distance, time, gears, seat belt status, and brake status, and door lock status can be tracked by the system, and this is the demonstration. And thank you.